now and draw another breath. London calling, and I don't want to shout, but while we were talking, I saw you nodding out. London calling, see we ain't got no hide.
Welcome along to London Calling. We've got 2 games to look back on this evening. Another victory, Brian, but also a defeat in the Capital One Cup to Swindon Town here on Tuesday evening. We'll look back on both. I'm delighted to say we're going to be joined live by goalkeeper Rob Green. We're also going to be speaking live with Steve Gallen. He's currently in New Jersey. I think he's actually spent the day in New York.
Yeah, they let him over
drive to New York. He's out in America with the under-18s with the Newark
Geography's not your
Classic.
subject, is it? No.
He's taking part in an under-18 tournament out there with his team, and they're doing very, very well. I'm delighted to say we're going to be joined by Steve live later on this hour. On top of that, of course, we've got another competition to win a personalised signed shirt from a player of your choice. We've got Charlie McCann with this week's betting odds, and we've got the ever popular stat of the week. That's all coming up here on London Calling, which is brought to you in association with Equate.
Is a natural energy drink containing only natural ingredients: fruit juices, ginseng, guarana, green tea, and just a nip of natural caffeine from the green coffee bean. And there's enough fruit juice in each can to give you one of your 5 a day. Need a natural lift? Try Equate.
Well, Brian, before we look back on the 2 games, firstly, details of that competition. This is nice and simple again. I'm sure we'll be giving a shirt away this hour. You have to work out who the player is that Clive Wilson most enjoyed playing with during his time here at Loftus Road. Let's hear from Clive.
The player I enjoyed playing the most with at QPR was...
So left back Clive Wilson, who did he most enjoy playing with during his time here at Loftus Road? We want your answers. Use hashtag LCI if you think you know the answer, and we will get you a signed shirt from a player of your choice with a personalised message to boot. It couldn't be simpler. Do you think you know the answer to that one, Brian?
Didn't hear the question.
I've said it twice.
Yeah.
It's well out
probably,
of order,
probably would think so, but it wouldn't be fair for me to get a signed shirt. Unless you were going to sign it, okay.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, firstly, let's look back then on the... let's look back on the positive.
Well, it's been a mixed week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has a little bit, but if we look back on the positive first, the up first, which of course was the 3 points against Bolton, and it was another important victory, especially when you see the teams around the Blackpool, Nottingham Forest, Watford, Watford. Yeah, did Watford win? They're all
on 10 points. They're all on 10 points.
Completely. So
goal differences, just a couple of goals between top and fourth. And
I know it's obviously still going to be tight at this stage, but a very important win for
on the road. Bolton, okay, they're not doing too well themselves this season, but they're still a big team. They're still psychologically a big team, and we remember what happened a couple of seasons ago in the Premier League against them. So a well-earned and essential victory in.
Yeah, no, it was. Well, let's remind ourselves what happened at the Reebok.
Well, Queen's Park Rangers have never won here at the Reebok Stadium. The last time these 2 teams met was in the top tier of English football.
Give an opportunity for Jermaine Beckford to get in there ahead of Dunn. He's through here, Beckford, but he fires wide. Spearing with the free kick and testing Robert Green in that QPR goal. Now Joey Barton takes it on. It's taken a deflection, which made it a little awkward. Put a spin on the ball for Bogdan to deal with. Nido takes it on and hits the post. Lee on the follow-up. But what an effort that was from the man from Sierra Leone.
Well, he's a popular player, isn't he, around these parts?
Spearing going low, the deflection made it awkward, but it was kind for Green. Right, Phillips. Hill. Return from Austin to Clint Hill. And it's in. Andrew Johnson pounces. Queen's Park Rangers lead at Bolton. And if it stays like this, QPR are heading to the top.
It's Clint Hill, gets the ball off Wright Phillips. That is a wonderful piece of football. 1-2 with Austin. Squares the ball, he's onside, Andrew Johnson. Wheater, that full stretch, can't cut it out.
But here is Craig Davis. Rob Green to the rescue for the Rangers.
Well, when you're going to be a top team in any division, you need a top goalkeeper.
A good start for Queen's Park Rangers that only gets better. It's 3 wins out of 4 for them as they hit the 10-point mark after 4 games played.
So another 3 points and another Andy Johnson winner. He got the winner against Sheffield Wednesday, the winner against Bolton. Am I the only one thinking that Andy Johnson could be very key to how our season goes?
If you remember, after the Sheffield Wednesday game of the programme, I did say that he was possibly the missing link from last season. And he's subject to injuries, and we know that he is prone to injuries, but he's looking like a youngster. He's looking like a 22, 23-year-old out there, and I agree, he is one of the main keys to our success. He's knocking the goals in. Given the opportunity, he'll put them away, and he's proven it already a couple of times.
And Clint Hill rolling back the years there down left back, and also a lovely touch from Charlie Austin to set up Andy Johnson's goal as well.
He's good at, I've seen that with Charlie. He is able, we've brought him in to score the goals. That's going to come, so don't worry, that is going to come. But he can lay the balls off as well, and he can create opportunities, and that's what's so good in a player like Charlie Austin. And you're so right, and he proved that on a couple of occasions. And
at the moment, I mean, he's certainly not 66 to 1 now, but you think at the start of the season, Andy Johnson, it's still very, very early days, no one's getting carried away, but at the start of the season, Andy Johnson was 66 to 1 to be the Championship top scorer, owing to, obviously, the injury concerns, which is why they were such attractive odds. But, I mean, if people have had a 5 or a 10 on that...
They could be laughing, or maybe at the end of the season.
They'll be pleased at this moment in time. Also, a special word on Carl Henry, the performance of him. I mean, when he came in, I think it's fair to say there wasn't loads of excitement about Carl Henry coming to the club. In the same way, let's be honest, there wasn't great excitement when we signed Sean Derry and Clint Hill from Crystal Palace, and they played a pivotal part in us winning the Championship in 2011. But he played a crucial role against Bolton. Again, it was the ugly role, if you like, and there's some great clips here put together by Adam, but where he's just winning those little tackles and then just giving the ball easy. Now these clips here, they're never going to make your extended highlights package, are they? Because he just wins the ball and then he just plays a simple pass. So he's never going to shine in that sort of highlights package. But when you clip them all together like that, you see what an important role he does play for the team.
Well, you can see that.
And a lot of people, I think, have been impressed by that dogged role that he is doing, protecting the back four.
Which is what we need. We need someone like him. Again, as you saw, he went and he slid in, he picked the ball up, laid it off perfectly. And if he can do that, again, it's injuries and keep himself fit, which he probably will do.
Yeah.
As you say, a pivotal part in our hopeful, successful season.
And another man who's been pivotal is, of course, Joey Barton, who everyone was stunned when he was in the starting lineup on the first day against Sheffield Wednesday. But you cannot debate the fact that he has been instrumental in
September the 3rd. That's all I can say.
I think that's the view of a lot of Rangers fans thinking,
September the 3rd,
let's just keep him. And I don't think too many QPR fans will have been saying that a few weeks ago. Joey himself wasn't saying that, but I mean, they say football is a funny old game, and that is one heck of a turnaround. I mean, right from the very first game against Sheffield Wednesday, when he got the reception that he did get, and it just seems to have grown and grown. And he's grown with that, and he's even said himself that is bringing out the most in him.
He looks like he's enjoying his football out there as well, and he's commanding the midfield, he's creative, and as I say, he looks like he's enjoying. And you say, 6-7 weeks ago before the season started, you'd never thought we as fans, or even Joey, would be saying that, and he's enjoying himself. And as I say, roll on the 3rd of September because I want to see him here.
Will you talk about what Joey's been saying? Let's hear what Joey's been saying. Go on then, Brian.
Press that button.
The fans in the home games I've played, Sheffield and Ipswich, have been magnificent. Totally got behind the side. And I remember a spell at the back end of my first season here when they did that, and it catapulted us to stay up without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, you've seen the atmosphere in here today. I mean, empty seats. The crowd sort of not had a great start to the season, sort of in between. They're a little bit positive, a little bit negative when we took the lead. And then you flip that to Loftus Road, and Ipswich were drawing 0-0, and they were still driving us on, still pushing us on. They've got a massive part to play. I think the fans don't realise sometimes how influential they can be. I mean, certainly with me, when they got on my back when I was you know, in the first season it didn't help at all, and to go out in the first game against Sheffield and hear them backing me, you know, give me a massive boost. And you know, speaking to a lot of the other lads, a lot of the new signings, a lot of the lads who've come in, you know, it means the world to us. I mean, you know, it is a cliche in football that they're the 12th man, but you know they are, and you know, the group of supporters we had here today, you know, were fantastic again.
564 travelled today.
How many?
564.
And that's for the 12:45 Sky game. So yeah, I mean, you know, as I say, you know, they've come and they've had a good day out. They'll have a great weekend now because, you know, they've come and seen QPR win on the road, which hasn't happened probably a lot since the promotion season. So yeah, you know, Rome, it wasn't built in a day, and you know, anyone who comes into this squad now has got to buy into the team comes first, and as I say, it's a testament to, there's no individual, there's no one person or two people responsible for it. It's a collective effort, and you know, every single one of the lads deserves a pat on the back. But you know, we haven't won anything yet. Leagues aren't won in August. You know, they'll be won in November and December at places like this when you've got to dig in and dig deep. But you know, all the early signs are positive, but we've got a lot of hard work to do.
Certainly really encouraging when you listen to him talking about people that now come into the group that have to buy into that team ethic. We'll be speaking with Rob Green live later in the show, and we'll get his thoughts as well. Obviously he was here throughout last season as well, where there were well documented issues within the dressing room, different groups, and how that has changed now. It'll be interesting to get Rob's take on that, the differences and what's created that difference. I mean, you're talking 19 players have left, 19 including loan players have left the club, and 6 have come in. That is an incredible turnover, and coupled with that is an excellent start to the season. It's quite incredible. Just on that point with regards to loans, there's a lot of talk about Michael Harriman extending his loan with Gillingham. There is an agreement in place, but it hasn't all been concluded. The paperwork, etc., hasn't been done. At the earliest, that will be done at some point tomorrow. So while an agreement is close to being completed with regards to Michael Harriman extending his loan at Gillingham, it hasn't gone through yet, which is why no announcement has been made from QPR, but we're expecting that to go through at some stage, at the earliest tomorrow. When that does happen, obviously we'll announce that on the website. But certainly interesting to get Joey's views on that. And now, unfortunately, after the highs of that victory against Bolton, we have to go to down a road we've walked many a time at QPR, and that is cup disappointment.
Few positives. We'll talk about that after
this. We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's put ourselves through it. That defeat to Swindon. I honestly thought we were going to score. When the fourth official said 5 minutes, I think we're going to score, because we're cracking chance after chance, near miss after near miss. I thought, right, we've got 5 minutes to really go for them. And then we'll concede that second, and it was just
silly second goal.
And it was hugely disappointing.
Yes,
hugely disappointing. Blessing in disguise, though? Or is Oki not believing that?
We sort of cut the cloth.
I was disappointed
accordingly, don't we? Had we won, great, we're still going. Had we lost, we concentrate on the league and all that. So, you know, we play it as we will. Couple of positives, Mo Sharif.
Yeah.
What a positive.
Yeah.
Youngster came on against, in the Cup, we're losing against a lower league club, granted, but he came on with all the confidence, and, you know, in the 15, 20 minutes he was on,
yeah, I think he did as much or more. I think he was on more than half an hour.
Was it? He did more than a lot of the players did on that on the evening, and you know, to have the confidence to do those little flicks. A little Adele Tarapi in a way.
Yeah, I mean, that pass there that we're just watching for Sean Wright-Phillips as well. Good bit of vision as well.
Well, that is, you see, that's what Adele was known for. And Mo has shown in those few minutes, in those few little snips that we've got going on at the moment, that he's got that vision. He's 2-footed.
Yeah, and he's a confident player there. You see
with that important thing.
See with that flick, and I mean, he's going out playing in front of more people than he's ever played in front of before, and he's got the confidence to try those little tricks. And the fans really bought into that, and they were really getting behind him. And he could certainly hold his head high.
I would like to see him, you know, personally. I think he's probably the sort of player that you'd have on the bench now and bring him on, because he showed the confidence. As I say, we were losing. It's a cup game, and you forget the fact that they were a lower league, and a little lower than us. And he came in with all that confidence and prepared to take players on. Yeah. And someone like that you need in your squad.
Yeah, no, he did very well. Last season he scored 10 goals in 15 appearances for the EDS. So he's done well. And it'll be interesting. We'll be speaking with Steve Gallen later from New York. And we're actually going to ask Steve about Mo, because Steve has worked with Mo over the last 3 years in the time he's been with the club. He joined us as a 17-year-old. So Steve certainly worked with him a bit in that time. So it'd be interesting to get Steve's views on Mo's development as well. But yeah, I completely agree with you. He was one of the positives. But I mean, yeah, for me, I was hoping that we could go on a little bit of a cup run.
It would have been nice to. It would have been nice to go on the cup run. All right, granted, we'll forget who Swindon have been drawn against, but it would have been nice, irrespective, to have a cup run, because you know, winning is important. And the players that Harry chose were given the opportunity to go and prove something, and I think a lot of them actually let us down on the night. Yeah, no, it was very disappointing. But league-wise, we've made a solid start. We got 10 points from 4 games, as have Forest, Blackpool, and Leicester. We're now joined by Charlie McCann from Bet Victor. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening.
Well, firstly, it's a mixed bag for us at the moment, Charlie. We're pleased with the result against Bolton. Obviously disappointed with the cup upset on Tuesday night against Swindon. But looking at the league form, as I say, there's 4 teams on 10 points. What are the promotion odds for all 4 teams? Do they vary greatly?
Yeah, as much as anything, Blackpool are 40 to 1 for the title. As you can imagine, I think it's fair to say that we weren't expecting the normal suspects are there. Reading already have sort of slightly flattered. This is for the title odds. Rangers are 7-2 from 4s. Remember, they're out of 5s. A couple of weeks ago, 7-2. It's Watford then 5s, of course, one of the sides not on 10 points. Forest 6s, Leicester 9s. Of 3 of those 4 sides at the top of the division, then Blackpool are 40 to 1. For actual promotion itself, Rangers are 23 to 20, just over nearly 5 to 4. 13 to 8 Watford, Forest 5 to 2, Leicester 3s, and Burlington out to 100 to 30 now for Reading, and Wigan same price, and Brighton, of course, we've gone on a little bit of a roll. They've won the last 2 without conceding. They're 6 to 1, as are Bolton, who were vanquished last week. Okay, and with regards to Charlie Austin, he hasn't scored in the league yet. Have his odds drifted because of that? Is there potential value there? Yes, of course.
In terms of being Championship top scorer.
Yeah, he's out to yes, lads. He's out to 12 to be the Championship top scorer. He was as short as 8, but of course you could argue, of course, he's 2 behind AJ, behind Andy Johnson. Andrew Johnson's 2 to 1 to be the top Rangers goal scorer. Charlie Austin 6 to 5. Bobby Zamora still 6s. Charlie Austin's 19 to 4, nearly 5 to 1 to score the opener at Ellen Road, and 32 to 20, around just over 6 to 4 to find the back of the net at any time, and to sort of, I think it's fair to say, get that monkey off his back. We need that first goal for Charlie Austin in the Championship. Of course, he got one in the Capital One Cup.
Okay, and we spoke earlier about Joey Barton. He's been instrumental in the strong start we've made in the league. Do you provide odds on whether he'll still be here after the transfer window closes on Monday night?
We think the wages will dictate, and he's Joey's 2 to 1 on to still be at Loftus Road on the 3rd of September. He's 6 to 4 to be transferred, and that includes on loan as well. And Palace were the suitors we know last week. They're 3 to 1 favourites to sign him. But your initial question, Joey Barton 2 to 1 on to still be at Loftus Road on Tuesday morning, and 6 to 4 he's transferred somebody else, or indeed on loan.
Okay, I guess that's the shortest it's been throughout this period.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Harry. The fortunate thing, I suppose, for Harry, of course, is his Saturday game kicks off early to give him a bit more time for his wheeling and dealing. There'll be, as you know, lads, I'm sure there'll be ins and outs maybe at Loftus Road between now and midnight on Monday, and what makes the transfer window such extraordinary. So every football fan in the country is looking to see if Messi's at Goodison Park or at Loftus Road.
Okay, and odds against Leeds this weekend, what can you tell us, Charlie?
Rangers 13-8 favourites, Leeds 9-5, and the draw at 12-5. So we just favour Rangers, and I think Harry would take a point now going into the international break, but it's been a really good start, really solid start for Rangers, and I think they've got 3 of their next 4 home games, next 4 championship games are at Loftus Road during September.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, especially on the back of the win against Bolton. I think you're right when you say Harry would probably be happy with a point, although he might not admit that. I would think 4 points from the 2 away games, you certainly couldn't turn your nose up at that. And also, what's worth a quid of Brian's money? We're trying to make Brian richer than he already is. What's worth a quid of his cash?
Well, Brian's looking affluent today anyway. But Charlie Austin to score first, Rangers 3-1. We've got it 75-1. There's a sort of Charlie Austin theme here. Charlie Austin to score what's known as a win cast, and Rangers to win by any score at all. That's 14-5. But I personally fancy again. I'm keen on this Rangers defence. I think that will get them out the championship. That will win them the title. Hopefully, Rangers to win either 1-0 or 2-0. That's a 4-1 shot, and that's the bet of the weekend.
Excellent. Listen, Charlie, thanks ever so much for joining us. We will catch up with you
again
soon.
Lads. Have a good weekend.
Thanks very much, Charlie McCann from Bet Victor, our official betting partners. Great to get him on the show.
It's
and give
interesting
us
to see the odds changing week in and week out.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a betting man, I'm just getting the hang of all of this. So, but it is interesting how they literally change 1 minute to the next. Charlie Austin scored a brace this weekend. Also be completely different.
It will come in, absolutely. But completely agree with you. You look at the strong start to the league, the disappointment against the cup, and there's like that high and then there's that low. But
hey, we're at Ellen Road this coming week.
I know, yeah, it's going to be a special game. We want to get competition entrance in because we have not yet had a right answer. So look through the social feed on just to the right as you look at the screen. We've yet to have a right answer. Here's the statement from Clive Wilson. You have to fill in the blank.
The player I enjoyed playing the most with at QPR was...
Okay, so we've had a few good guesses. We've had Trevor Sinclair, we've had Alan McDonald, but we've yet to have the right answer. So keep them coming. We've had Andy Impey as well. We've yet to have the right answer. So keep them coming to win a signed shirt from a player of your choice with a personalised message just by telling us who you think it is that Clive Wilson most enjoyed playing with during his time at Loftus Road. Tweet us using hashtag LCI. We also want your thoughts on the debate of the week. And this week we want to know who you think has been the signing of the summer so far from Harry. There's 6 to choose from, and it's quite varied in the responses, which probably again shows that Harry's done well in the transfer market. In the 6 that have come in, it seems to be quite varied on who people believe the signing of the summer to be. Danny Simpson certainly win the cover. I'm going through my script here, round and round. Eventually found it. Chris Suggett says Joey Barton, an interesting one. Obviously he is like a new signing and he's certainly done well. Joe Leonard says Richard Dunn, who provides much needed motivation and organisation, as Sean Derry and Ryan Nelson did. He's invaluable. Gavin Cronin, you can't include Phillips as he's not yet played, but he could end up with the votes. So out of the ones that have played, for me it has to be Danny Simpson. No one else has played enough. Kevin Smith says Simpson by far reliable and solid, plus delivers good crosses. Beans Park Rangers says Steve McLaren. Again, another interesting one because there's no denying he's had a huge impact.
Well, you can see there's been influence in.
So very, very varied responses. What's your thoughts? Who has been the signing of the summer so far from Harry Redknapp? Danny Simpson seems to be leading the way, but as
it may not be over
yet for others.
May not be over yet.
Well, exactly. There's still a few days to go. The window closes on Monday night at 11 o'clock. So time will tell if new players come in. You're watching London Calling. It's brought to you in association with
Equate
Equate.
is a natural energy drink containing only natural ingredients, fruit juices, ginseng, guarana, green tea and just a nip of natural caffeine from the green coffee bean. And there's enough fruit juice in each can to give you one of your 5 a day. Need a natural lift? Try Equate.
So what would you say, Brian? Who's been your signing of the summer so far? Who's impressed you the most?
I like Gary O'Neill.
Yeah, see, that's a great show, yeah.
He's come on. Richard Dunn. Actually, looking at all the players, as you said, they've all looked pretty useful. Charlie Austin's yet to show what he can do in regards of scoring, which is one of the reasons he's come along. But with all the signings that Harry's had, I think they've all shown that they're here to do business, they're here to play. And I couldn't really put my finger on one. I'd like to think that Mo Sharif was a new signing in a way, because, again, he's the one that's inspired me probably the most in his short time. And of course, Tom Hitchcock. We've got to look at the players. They're not new signings, but they're debutants, and it's almost as good as having those new signings. So I think it's pretty bright here at Loftus Road at the moment. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. How he's bringing in players. He's got rid of the players that not necessarily were right for us, and I think he's just getting the mix okay out there in the league, not necessarily in the cup.
Charlie Austin, one of the new signings, yet to score in the league. Is that a concern for you?
Well, when he joined, we were talking about scoring 1 in 2, as was in his years at Burnley. Hasn't quite happened yet, and the pressure is on him to be scoring goals. I think it's really just a matter of time for him to hit the back of the net. He's come close. He's hit the crossbar. He's been very close on a few occasions. And I think once he scores that first one, I'm hoping, and I'm quoting Gavin Peacock here, the floodgates will open.
Yeah, and here's an interesting little stat for you. As you say, he did very well at Swindon, did very well at Burnley, pretty much throughout both spells, averaged 1 in 2. In his first 4 games at both clubs, he didn't score.
Well, that's good enough for me.
He scored, but then he started scoring in the 5th onwards, and so
Saturday is the day.
From his first 6 games at Swindon, he scored 2 goals in 6.
Yeah.
At Burnley, he scored 2 goals in first 6, and here at QPR, he's got 1 in first 6.
Okay.
So,
but let's just look at it in reality. Cancel out the goal he scored against Exeter, because it actually means nothing, because we're out the cup. It's the goals that you score in the league that are actually important for our goal difference and points. So the goal in the cup, great for practice. Okay,
but
the reality of it is in the league, and that's where it really matters at this moment.
Certainly, what Charlie has shown. I think it was very unfortunate that his goal was chalked off in midweek.
And we still don't know
Swindon.
why. I mean, we're not sure. Was it offside?
Was it a push? Yeah, it was a bit of confusion, but he was unfortunate for that. But certainly, what he has shown at his spell at Swindon, his spell at Burnley, is that when he does start scoring, he is prolific. And although I think QPR fans are, you can see they're desperate for him now to start scoring. You feel there might be a monkey climbing onto his back after that excellent start against Exeter, scoring after 99 seconds. But you can tell the QPR fans are right behind him, because he continues to put himself there, and he's continuing to get in a good position. Personally, I mean, it's the absolute kiss of death, probably. I apologise, Charlie, but personally, I think once he starts scoring, I think, as you say, the floodgates will open. But I think he'll start scoring on a regular basis once that first goes in. But it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on Charlie Austin. How confident are you that once the goals come, that they will come, where they will be plentiful? Use hashtag LCR, your thoughts on Charlie Austin. The goal's not coming in the league yet. How confident are you that he can turn that round and start scoring some goals? But we spoke about Andy Johnson.
Well, with Andrew Johnson, he's scoring. He's doing what Charlie will be doing. And if you get both of them fit and scoring goals, plentiful, we'll be there or thereabouts at the top of the league come the end of the season. In my opinion, for what it's worth.
In your opinion?
Not worth much, mind you, because I thought we'd be Europa League last season, so shows what I know.
Yes, this is true. You were up there with Kishan Palmer. Kishan, if you're watching.
Good evening.
You were predicting Europa League. Kishan Palmer predicted a 9th place finish.
Yeah.
So,
we know nothing. Nothing.
Not the best. I think I'll stick with Charlie McCann.
Yes.
In terms of getting betting odds. Although it'd be interesting to get odds on some of you and Kishan, odds on what you predict. I'll tell you, they'll be right out there. It has to be said. But also, you looking through the team now as well. The back four's quite interesting, isn't it? As well, because he's playing Clint Hill at left back. Then obviously on Tuesday night he brought him back into the centre with Ned Manua, rested Richard Dunn. Who's your first choice back four? And of course Armand Traore came on at Bolton in the second half.
I know. If again, Harry, last season we were midfield rich, and I think we're back four rich this season. So to find the right back four, I think is going to be a little bit more difficult for Harry, and I think it's going to take a couple of more games for him to realise who the best are. Going back to Tuesday, nobody was good in the back four, in my opinion. But looking back at Bolton and Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday, a solid back four. Who do you play? With having Armand Traore coming back, I like him as a player. I think he's got the flair as well. He can bring the ball up. He's great with his crosses, but he's solid in defence. Clint Hill is again like another new lease of life, in my opinion. Last season I thought he played well. Ask me in a couple of weeks' time who I think the best back four are, because
I'm asking you now, Mr. Mills.
I can't say because
rubbish.
You're tinkering.
What's the score going to be on Saturday against Leeds? And you saying, ask me on Sunday?
No, not at all. That's a one-off. But that's a one-off.
What's your back?
That's a one-off.
What's your back four for Saturday's game at Leeds?
I'd like to see Richard Dunn. I'm not doing it in any particular order. Richard Dunn. I'd like to see Armand Traore, because I think that Ellen Road is probably the right sort of game and atmosphere to bring probably the best out of him. Clint Hill. I didn't say Clint already, did I? No.
You've
got one more.
Got Clint Hill and Richard Dunn at centre back, and you've got Armand Traore at left back. Well, hang on, this is ridiculous. Open up the Twitter feed. #LCI. Destroy this man. You're saying move Nedum to right back.
I said in no particular order. Richard Dunn centre back. We need the position. Richard Dunn centre back, obviously, in my opinion. Have Clint Hill, Armand Traore. I can't work out on that last position.
Oh, okay. So
I'm trying to work out that last.
So if you drop Danny Simpson,
I wouldn't drop Danny Simpson.
So we're going 5 at the back.
No, well, you're trying to confuse me at the moment. Unfortunately, see, I didn't see the Bolton game.
Right, okay. Well,
okay, I wasn't here for the Bolton game, so I haven't seen the Bolton game, so I can't really tell you how.
Because basically the only change, because Armand Traore came on in the second half at Bolton, but the only change he's made really is bringing Clint for Tuesday night, bringing Clint back into centre back and resting Richard Dunn. And putting Ewan Suk Young at left back. So do you see Clint Hill now as a left back again, as he was when he first came to the club, or is he a centre back for you? Is he a starter for you?
He's a starter for me. With Richard Dunn, I'd have him. So I'd probably have him as a left back I would think. Right. And Richard Dunn, obviously, I think is a centre back
with Nedum and then Danny Simpson right back.
Yeah, and then where's Armand going to be on the bench waiting to come on?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I say we are defence. We've got that. We've got a surplus of good defenders.
I think Clint Hill probably exceeded a lot of people's expectations, even arguably his own, by how he's done at left back. Because cast your mind back a year or so ago, and he said he's not a left back anymore; he's a centre back. But he did exceptionally well. He picked up the Sky Man of the Match award, of course, at Bolton. Set up the winner for Andy Johnson as well. He did very, very well at left back. I think there was obviously a keenness to bring Richard Dunn in because of the experience and the leadership qualities he brings.
That is what he has.
And a lot of people could also argue, and rightly, that Ned Manua is a better player for having Richard Dunn alongside him as well.
Well, you do find that the players do lift them.
And obviously they know each other from their Manchester City days as well. But we're going to be catching up with Steve Gallen very shortly.
When he gets out of Macy's.
Yeah, he's currently on the subway, we're told.
Yeah,
somewhere in New York. Personally, I think he's found a cheeky little Irish bar somewhere, and he's saying they can hang on for another half pint or so. But don't forget, at 9:30 this evening, we've got a few of the young lads from the academy who'll be on our Twitter feed, taking over at official QPR, answering your questions. So if you've got a question for the academy lads, use #AskTheAcademy to send your questions into them, and they'll be answering them around 9:30 PM tonight, our time, which is about 4:30 their time. So get those questions in for the young lads and show your support for them as well. They're doing brilliantly out there. As I say, we're going to catch up with Steve Gallen in just a moment, but use #AskTheAcademy to get your questions over to them. But you speak about the back four. It'd be interesting to get the views of Ars fans. What would your back four be for this coming Saturday against Leeds?
In the league.
In the league.
That's what you were trying to say.
Use hashtag LCI. Who would your back four be? Clint Hill, man of the match performance against Leeds. Does he hold on to his starting berth? Do you bring Richard Dunn back in? Obviously, it's going to be a very tough test up at Leeds United. So do you need his experience back in there? Danny Simpson, you would assume, keeps hold of his right back spot. He's done very, very well there, hasn't he? Going forward as well. He's always got that eagerness to get forward, hasn't he?
Which is, again, it's what you like to see, somebody that does want to get forward but prepared to come straight back when things do break down. And as I say, it's a tough decision for Harry.
It is difficult, but we're going to be joined very, very shortly by Ars goalkeeper Robert Green. We're going to be speaking with him, looking ahead to Saturday's game against Leeds United, and also the form he's been in. He's been exceptional, hasn't he? Even looking at the game against Bolton, we win 1-0. Andy Johnson gets the plaudits for getting the goal. Clint Hill gets the plaudits for his part in the goal. But if it's not for Rob Green, we don't win that game.
But I was saying always that you're always fine. Men of the match normally are the ones who score the goal. They may just turn up, knock the ball in, do nothing else the rest of the game.
But I mean, you look at that. That's a great save, and it looks like he's looping over him. But
goalkeepers very rarely, defenders and goalkeepers very rarely become man of the match. And you know, I think the pundits that make men of the match should actually look at the actual overall performance and not just at the goals scored.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But no, he's made an excellent start, and I believe he's on babysitting duty this evening
before the show.
The rock and roll life of a premier of I said
you
Premier
really have.
League.
You're losing it tonight.
I know,
totally.
Yeah. The rock and roll lifestyle of a professional footballer, Rob. Rob, can you hear us?
Hello, you there? Yeah.
Hi, Rob. We were just saying you're on babysitting duty this evening. The rock and roll lifestyle of a footballer.
Yeah, it's taking a turn for the worse. So we're in Great Portland Street Hospital at the minute. So it's all good fun. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Bad time. Yeah, but we'll all be fine. So,
everything
anyway,
okay?
Yeah, fine. Hopefully not too much of an issue, but yeah, as you say, the fun life you lead as a dad of a young family.
Okay, well, listen, thanks ever so much for joining us, particularly on the back of that news. Well, looking back on the season so far, Rob, 3 wins and a draw in the league. You've got to be happy with that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's pleasing. It's a good start. It's especially pleasing when we're disappointed with the draw at Huddersfield. You look at the game, and that's the one where we didn't start too brightly, we didn't start sharp enough, and we knew it, and we only got going once they scored, and then after that it was fairly one-way traffic. We controlled games without firing on all cylinders, and it's been a really good start. I think the opening game was a massive thing to get a win, especially going a goal behind. After a bright start, we started well, and looked like a team that was positive and going on to win looking to win a game. And it was, to get that setback, especially in front of our own fans, with them really backing us, and it was great to have that support, a full house, and it was amazing that. After the back of the end of last season, what was such a disappointment, and to be able to turn that around was key, and to get the ball rolling. And as I say, we've not really fired on all cylinders. We know that at the minute. The goal against Bolton shows what we can do in terms of playing football, and we're looking to do that more and more whilst putting in the hard work. And it's been a pleasing start. You look at over the course of history of Premier League teams coming down, they can start badly and it can go worse. So it's a good start. That's what it is at the minute, So it's like I say, pleasing.
You, the team, have only conceded 2 goals in 4 games. As a keeper, you must be pleased with that, because ultimately that's what you're judged on.
Yeah. It's nice to be playing in a team that keeps clean sheets. It's difficult letting in goals. It's difficult being in a team that is. I've had it a number of times. At times you feel like no matter how well you can play, that you're holding back a pretty resurgent tide, and it can be difficult. But to play in a team where we've got experienced lads in front of us. You look at the back four and the back five, the lads who've been playing in front of me. You know, you've got great pros, great great experience, and you know, we know our games. We know that the lads in front of me know their games, and it's been so far been a pleasure to play behind. And of course, you know, it would, like anybody would say, it starts from the front in terms of defence. And you know, we've been really quite aggressive in defence at times, and we're learning from that it helps out the whole of the game. If we can press and suck the life out of another team, then you know, it gives us a lot of time on the ball and a lot of time to create chances, which when teams are more worried about that, they tend to think about not attacking so much.
You, like you say, it's good to be in a team that's keeping clean sheets. The opposite of that is not being in a team that's not keeping clean sheets, and that's exactly where you were last season. It was obviously a difficult time for you. You're an experienced professional, but it must have been a real challenge for you.
Yeah, it was a difficult season. Not going to lie about that. It was one that, you know, didn't particularly enjoy. I've been in teams that have been relegated. I've been in teams that have been pretty much hammered every week. And you know, as I say, you go out there and do your utmost, but sometimes it's just not enough. But at the same time, at least you have an input to sit and watch your team get pumped every week when you know that there's not a lot, there's essentially nothing you can do apart from your job. Then it's frustrating. It's fairly demoralising at times. And I remember sat next to Sean Derry on the bench at one game we were losing and away from home, and he said, "Do you think there's any other teams in the Premier League where we can get in the squad?" I said, "Well, we are bottom shot, so by definition we might struggle." So there's times where you have real sort of down moments, and it's down to you as a professional to really sort of get through it, fight through it, and do your job and do your utmost and stay fit. And when and if the chance comes along, take it. But at times, yeah, difficult. So from that season, you learn that realistically you want to take each time like it's your last, and you want to play every game. I think it's the first time in as long as I can remember, 13 years, that I haven't played every week. And it was seemingly a long time, but in the overall scheme of things, it was a season. So that time is sort of made me appreciate again playing football and playing the games and enjoying playing in a team and winning games.
The QPR fans, I think it's fair to say, were impressed by the way you dealt with that situation, the way you conducted yourself and went about your business. At no point were there any comments coming out from you which were derogatory towards the club in any way, shape or form. And do you think that has helped you in a way to build a strong relationship that you have now with the QPR fans?
Well, I mean, yeah, in a way. Hopefully they appreciate your performances as much as anything. You know, first and foremost, I mean, you say how hard it is your job. It is, you know, you're there and you're getting paid good money to do it. So, you know, you make your choices in life. And I signed for the club in all failed, thinking that I would play and was looking for something that was, you know, that it hasn't been how it's panned out. But at the same time, you know, yeah, when you come out and play, you want to give your all, and at the same time, you want to show your emotion on the pitch and show what you can do and show that you're up for a challenge and that you want everything, that you put everything you can into a performance, and that comes out from your training, from your work that you do away from the training ground, from what you put into your life. And that goes without saying about, you know, when times aren't so good, that it's you know, as a responsible sort of professional and as someone as part of a team, what you don't need when you're getting battered every week is someone turning out a line and looking after themselves. And no matter what you might think, no matter what you think of selection or the politics behind selection or anything like that, it's you know, if times are tough, you get your head down and you work hard, because that's the only way. There's no point having thrown tantrums, you know, that it just adds to the problem. And so it proved evident that you know, the number of times last season that there were occasions where people didn't help out the club in any way. way when it was tough occasions, enough tough occasions as there were in the season.
Okay, 19 players out this season, and for some teams that's almost their full squad, and 6 players in so far this season. How has it changed in the dressing rooms from this season to last? I mean, we can see on the pitch, obviously, we're getting the right results, but from your standpoint, how has it actually changed?
I don't want to sound too xenophobic or too outrageous in one way, but to have a core nucleus of English players who know the league, who know the effort that it needs, the professionalism that it needs, the grit and the determination it needs to go through and to play these games and to play in the Championship is massive. You can see from the manager's signings. I mean, I'm not going to go through them all, but they're all. I think it's only Richard Dunn, who's not English, who's been in England as long as I can remember. That there are lads who know the score, who have done jobs in the Championship, or if not in the Premier League, and you've got a core nucleus of English players where communication's there, the morale's there, the self-management's there as much as anything in terms of what the manager's looking for. I believe in that he doesn't need to tell you certain things. He doesn't need to tell you it's going to be a tough game. He doesn't need to tell you that at times it's not going to be fun playing on a Tuesday night in December in Barnsley. It's that sort of thing where you know that you've got to roll your sleeves up and you know you've got to dig in. That goes without saying, and hopefully from that you can see at times where we have needed to dig in, whether we're in front or whether we're behind in games, where you can see it, and the lads have done that, and that's something which is, I think, is key for this season, and one that if we step away from that, then then we're fools to ourselves. But so far we've stuck in at games, we've played football at times, but you know that it's not going to be fancy football all the time. It's going to be scraps, it's going to be difficult at times, and teams are going to attack you with long balls, with high balls and stuff like that, and he's recruited people who know the script in that respect.
I was actually laughing quietly to myself because you mentioned Barnsley, and I remember Danny Dichio, one of the other times we got relegated, his biggest fear was a cold, damp Tuesday night in Barnsley, and of course when we did play in Barnsley, I seem to remember we lost that game. Okay, right. I mean, Harry Redknapp, how much credit would you actually give to him and the backroom staff to basically the transformation and the attitude of the squad so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it is into the key of recruitment, I think, massively. I played under Alan Kirbishley before at West Ham, who did the same job at West Ham as he did at Charlton, where you know that in the type of player that you recruit is key for how you make your job, and from that he's brought in lads who are going to do a great job, who he knows and he knows their capabilities. He's not asking anybody anything that he can't do, and he instills confidence into people. He asks us to play. He asks us to play football, and it's from that we try. We're not going to get it right every time. We know that, but at the same time, he's there to back you, to say what he thinks that, what you can do and what you can't do, and from there it's a lot more of a team that can manage itself. We can have word with ourselves. We walked in from one game where it wasn't going perfectly well, and the manager didn't need to say anything in terms of having a go or shipping people out, because we'd done it between ourselves, and from there that's a key point, I think, is in terms of management is that if you get the thing in the dressing room, in the morale between the lads right, then it's just a massive problem taking care of itself. And so far this season, I think that's a big thing. And partly that, and obviously there's his role within it has been to obviously it's not to have a go at previous players or to disrespect anybody, but it's one thing outlining people who need to go. It's another thing managing to actually sell them on, and it would have been easy for people to sit about and just pick up a wage, but fair play to them, people have moved on who wanted to move on, and in that respect, you end up with a core group of players who want to be there and want to do a job. So I think in that respect, it's so far, I'm sure, as everybody knows, the manager can do a few deals before the end of the season, but at the end of the window. But in that respect, it's been a fantastic role model for teams for getting a core nucleus of players to be pulling in the right direction and to pull others in the right direction as well.
Okay, and just before we let you go, Rob, Leeds on Saturday morning, and I suppose this perfectly highlights how difficult the Championship is. They got relegated from the top flight in 2004, and that they are a big club, and that they haven't been able to get back there since, and even dropped down to League One. What sort of game are you expecting at Leeds?
It's difficult. It's going to be tough. I mean, you can write a blueprint for pretty much every game this season. You'd imagine it's going to be similar to the Bolton game, where it's going to be tough. It's going to, at times, not going to be pretty. And it's a thing about getting the basics right in defence, getting it, hopefully letting the lads go and play from midfield and forwards. But first and foremost, it's going to be hard work, and we know that. And we know that their crowd gets behind them. It's supposed to be an intimidating place to go and play, which I've always enjoyed, strangely. But it's a great place to go and play football. It's a great place to go and work hard and show what you can do, because it's a big pitch. It's one with a great atmosphere and a great history. And as you say, Leeds is a huge club, and one that's probably, you'd say, been punching below its weight for quite some time, and I'm sure they come with an anticipation of winning every game at home, at least, and especially in the Championship. And it's one where if you go, you quieten the crowd first of all, and then once you get a foothold, you go and play your stuff. And if we can go like we did against Bolton and play our stuff, and at times play some really good football, it hopefully will be the right result again.
Brilliant. Listen, Rob, thanks ever so much for joining us, particularly from hospital. We hope everything's all right there, and best of luck on Saturday.
Okay, pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Excellent. The thoughts there of Rob Green, in particular thanks goes to him, as I say, he's looking after his 2 young children this evening, and he's down at the hospital, so yes, we hope everything's all right, and particular thanks to Rob for still coming on the show. And some very interesting views, particularly with regards to the recruitment, bringing in some people who know the division, and obviously that does seem to have had a big impact.
He was quite positive on that.
Yeah.
What I must say, it's good to see. When he was last on the show, he gave a commitment to being here this season after it was confirmed we were being relegated, and it's just nice to see that he's stuck to that. He's still here, and he's in the number 1 position in goal, and he's doing what he does best, because he just was not given that opportunity.
We've had a few tweets in with regards to who your back four.
I knew they were going to say that. Yeah.
Lorraine says left back Hill, right back Simpson, centre backs Ned Manua and Richard Dunn. QPR Tom 22, Hill, Dunn, Anua, Simpson. Traore on the left wing. He did great there against Chelsea in 2011. Of course, Armand, he certainly can play that role as a left midfielder as well.
Yes, well, he did that. When he used to dip that little crossover and from nowhere, he's quite an interesting player.
He's a great crosser of a ball, but it does seem that people are opting for Dunn and Anua at centre back, with Hill playing left back. I know Clint Hill's preferred position is centre back. He did himself no favours by playing so well at left back on Saturday. Harry's put him there, and he's done ever so well. And you do wonder whether he'll find himself there again on Saturday, because such a difficult game up at Leeds is going to be a very difficult atmosphere, and you're going to need people to stand up to the physical challenge, and for that reason you'd imagine Harry will want Clint Hill in his back four there somewhere, but you'd have thought he'll also want Richard Dunn and Ned Manua, so I do wonder whether Hill will be out at left back again on Saturday.
Interesting, Rob saying how much he enjoys playing the sort of atmosphere at Ellen Road, because it's intimidating. It is so intimidating up there, and I remember I wasn't the last time, but I went when we lost 6-1. And that was their fans, it's the old cliche, but they were the 12th and 13th man when we played that game. Yeah. If you remember.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They beat us 2-0, didn't they?
Well, I'm going before that.
I'm thinking now, promotion winning season, they beat us 2-0 up there, and it was a difficult game. Although I also remember down the tunnel, particularly funny now, considering Neil Warnock ended up managing them. He went down the tunnel afterwards, and the Leeds players were celebrating down the tunnel, and Neil Warnock said, "Let's see where we are in May." And of course, QPR went on to win the league. But I suppose that was Neil Warnock, very confident,
yes.
and he was to be as well, because obviously we went on to win the division, and then the irony of him then managing Leeds after that. We're hoping to get hold of Steve Gallen. He's somewhere in New York City.
Bloomingdale's now. He's in Bloomingdale's.
That is the last we've heard. With regards to the competition, we've had a few right answers. We'll be announcing the competition winner very shortly. The question was, who did Clive Wilson most enjoy playing with at Loftus Road during his spell here at the club? And just with regards to that, Clive Wilson was here a couple of weeks ago, along with Jerry Francis, Les Ferdinand and Andy Impey, the four of them reminiscing about their time at the club in the early to mid 1990s. That's for The Insider, QPR's official online magazine, which is absolutely free, and it's coming out in the next couple of weeks. Date to be confirmed, but certainly within the next couple of weeks that'll be out, and there's loads of exclusives in there, and particularly getting them four together to sit around a table and chat for an hour about all things QPR did bring up some very, very amusing stories, which is well worth a read. So that's coming out very shortly in the next couple of weeks. QPR, The Insider, official magazine, online, it's free. That'll be issue 4. That'll be issue 3. Issue 2 is currently available, so check that out on the official website. The Insider magazine, completely free, well worth having a look at. And I'm now delighted to say we have found him somewhere in. We haven't found him. He's still missing.
He's gone back to Macy's because he didn't fit.
I thought maybe it was his round at the bar, so he was sneaking off to say, "I've got to make a phone call." But clearly, it's not his round.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's not his round yet. Yeah, but he's Irish, isn't he?
Yeah, that's closer.
So Steve Gallen's thinking, right, I'll have a couple.
Shall
of
we have a
drinks
quick look ahead to Saturday then, whilst we're waiting for him?
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts? Would you? Oh,
okay. The draw?
Definitely not must win. Because before the Bolton game, we were saying, or I was certainly saying, Bolton away, Leeds away would definitely take 4 points from those two games, and we've got 3.
Yes.
If we'd lost at Leeds, you think you don't want to go into the international break having lost, but having won, I'd definitely take a point.
Leeds, intimidating. That's probably one of the only grounds I would be happy with a point if we came away with a point. Still want to see the 3. I still think we can do it based on how we've been playing in the league. But if we do come away with a point, it's going to be one that we mustn't lose. There we are.
Well, looking ahead to the game against Leeds, let's get up to date with the latest stat from @QPR_stats.
The last time the R's won 3-2 away, having been 2-0 down, was against Leeds in October 1990. A game that will always be remembered for that Roy Wegley goal.
It's another absolute classic from @QPR_stats. He's got a regular column in the Matchday programme. Thanks very much to @QPR_stats, or Paul Jenkins as he goes by in real life.
With 9 till 5.
Interesting stat, the last time we came from 2-0 down to win 3-2 was at Leeds United in 1990, remembered for that Roy Wegley goal. The odds on a 3-2 win this weekend, 33-1 with Bet Victor.
Okay.
Not a bad little bet.
Not a bad little bet. I want to have what the odds on us getting hold of Steve Gallen tonight. That's probably...
I know.
Call Charlie quickly.
I know, yeah. We're hoping we're going to get hold of him. We're just going to hang on for a couple more minutes and see if we can get Steve on the line. If not, then we'll certainly try to get him on the show, which won't be next week because next week's the international break, so there's no show next week. We'll be back on Thursday, the 12th of September. But what we can tell you, there's plenty coming up. Tomorrow morning, 9:45, right here on Ustream. Again, absolutely free. Harry's pre-match press conference ahead of the game against Leeds United. While he will talk about all manner of things, as has been noted, hopefully we'll get some team news as well. He did last week, obviously in the lead up to it. He gave a bit of information with regards to Andy Johnson being back and available. So we'll get the latest from him tomorrow. That's from 9:45, a live press conference from Harry Redknapp streamed right here. So have 15 minutes off work, have a cup of tea and a biscuit and watch that. And on Monday Kick-off time is 1 o'clock, I think. 1 o'clock kick-off. It's the EDS, QPR against Brighton. The youngsters in action here at Loftus Road. 1 o'clock kick-off. We'll be streaming that live and again absolutely free. So if you're having your lunch on Monday and fancy a little QPR fix, then 1 o'clock QPR v Brighton EDS. That's brought to you with commentary from Tony Incenzo and Andy, roving reporter Watkins, who incidentally has been unable to bring us Steve Gallen live on the air. One job, Andy.
Yes.
One job. Get us Steve Gallen on the phone. That's all we asked him to do.
Yes, no good, is it?
Incredible.
No good at all.
Absolutely incredible.
Okay.
We have got a winner for our competition. The question was, who did Clive Wilson most enjoy playing with during his spell at Loftus Road? Here's Clive with the answer.
The player I enjoyed playing the most with at QPR was Les Ferdinand.
So the answer was Les Ferdinand. The laughter in the background came from Les Ferdinand, who, as I was saying earlier, was taking part in the Insider magazine discussion. And the winner is Pete Koenig. That's at @old_Pedro. Congratulations, Pete. You've won a QPR signed shirt signed by the player of your choice with a personalised message. Email me, paul.m@qpr.co.uk with your contact details and we'll go from there. Many congratulations, Pete Koenig at @old_Pedro on winning that competition. We'll have another signed shirt to give away for our next show, which, as I say, is on Thursday, the 12th of September. Steve Gallen, unfortunately, we've not managed to get hold of him.
Obviously celebrating yesterday's victory.
It's a family fortunes. What we can tell you is they've made an excellent start to the competition. They drew 2-2 against Boston in the first game. Let's just bring you right up to date with that. They drew 2-2 against Boston. Then in the second game, which was only yesterday, they played against Boston on Tuesday. And then yesterday they played the PDA team, which is when they won 5-1 against the Players.
And the weather wasn't good. It was pretty bad. There were thunder showers, stop-start, and
Players Development Academy. It was a New Jersey team. They beat them 5-1. So now they play Inter Milan tomorrow. And if they can draw or win that, then they're through to the final on Saturday, which is a fantastic achievement. You've got Liverpool out there competing in the competition as well as Inter Milan. Great to be involved with QPR. 8 youth teams out there. So
and the experience
fantastic
for the
achievement. Fantastic achievement. And don't forget, 9:30 this evening, the @official QPR has been taken over by the Ute. They're going to be answering your questions. Use hashtag #AskTheAcademy to send your questions in to them. And we'll look forward to that. That will go well. We'll be next on tomorrow for the live stream of Harry's press conference. That starts at 9:45. Thanks to everyone for watching. Congratulations to Pete Koenig, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time.